Hello, everybody. Welcome to Detox, the design podcast. Now, it's been a really long time since I did a solo episode. I'm super glad that I'm able to do this now. And this is about portfolio. Now, I put up a story on Instagram a couple of days ago, and a few of you did reach out to me and actually expressed a few concerns about how to go about the portfolio and how to present your projects, etc., etc., etc. So I am going to address a majority of the questions in this episode, and this is going to be a video podcast. So if you want to make the most of this episode, I recommend you to listen it on Spotify, or I will be posting this as a video on YouTube as well. So Spotify now allows you to watch the video as well. So I'm going to share every now and then. There will be a presentation that I'm sharing which will include a lot of visuals and some notes that you would like to take. So do listen to it on Spotify or YouTube. So let's now get into the episode.
Keep calm and chill. Don't panic. This is nothing. It's not rocket science. If I can do it, you can also do it. If somebody else can do it, then we can also do it. Just relax, sit back, and today you're going to get all your questions answered. I'm going to break it down to you in very simple way. There are a few questions that you need to ask when you're starting with the presentation of your project. First thing, you need to think about your project. Now, what do I mean by think? You need to know what the project is. What is the project that you've done? Okay. Has any of you felt that after finishing a project, did I go the right way? Did it feel incomplete? Are you always satisfied with your end result? Before presenting your project, before concluding a project, basically we conclude a project and then we present it. Before we conclude a project, we think about the project. We think about what's the focus of your project. What is it? What is it that you want to do? What is it that you wish to, achieve from this project? What is the outcome of this project? What problem is it solving? Who is it for? So think about that. Think about the end result of your project. What is it that you must achieve? What is it that the project is meant to solve? So that outcome, that becomes the focus of your project. For example, if I'm solving a problem which is something like I'm designing a nail cutter, redesigning a nail cutter, which sort of is designed in a way that the nails don't fly off after we cut them. Okay. Have you all faced this situation? Nails go in all different directions, they fly out, and then you're struggling to find kaha gira, where is it? If we are redesigning the nail cutter, so the focus is that we are solving that problem. How do we prevent nails from flying out? That becomes the focus of your project. So that problem, how are you solving that? Are you making something, an add-on to an accessory for the nail cutter? Or are you completely redesigning the whole nail cutter? Right? So that is the outcome. That is the focus. So the focus has to be clear. You show the process, how you reached the solution. You understand the brief, you understand the focus. There are many things that you do in between. There's research, you take inspiration, you create the mood board, you do ideation, you make sketches, and then you decide a direction, and then you go and finalize a design from a few concepts. Then you finally represent that final design at the end. The process has to be shown. So keep that in mind when we are talking about presenting a project. First thing, thinking about the project. What's the focus? Understand that, and then show the process. Now, after you do that, you have to make sure that when you're showing everything, it has to be visual. Okay. It cannot have text. No, it cannot have. See, if you ask me, I'd say 80% visual, 20% text. I'll show you my portfolio example. Although it's very old and my skills have improved drastically, but I think it would serve as a good example to show what I am asking you to do here. Okay, you have to make it visual. See, as human beings, we process visual information more. We see colors and shapes, we perceive them much faster than we see text. We don't read text. I'm going to give you 4 points, 3 to 4 points, with the help of some visual examples, which will pretty much put things into perspective for you guys. So now that we are starting to present our project, I want you guys to remember these things. First thing, size impacts visibility. Now look at these two images, the before and the after. Which one looks better? Which one looks more appealing? So the larger the element, the better the attention than the smaller ones. Now, it depends on what the focus is. On every page of your project, you need to know what your focus is. For example, if it is ideation, if there are many sketches, so usually on an ideation page you have many sketches, and then there is a direction that you follow, that you finalize on that page, and then you go to the next page. You need to know what is the focus. Like, I'm going back to this, what is the focus of your project? Yes, here you change this to what is the focus of your page. Whatever page you're on, the first page of the project, what is the focus? What are you trying to convey here? The second page of the project, what is it that you want to convey in the second page? You need to keep that in mind. Second point, color and contrast. Same thing, the left one looks super boring, the right one looks somewhat interesting, and it looks a little better than the left one. So when you are presenting your projects, your focus of that particular page, whatever you want to show on that particular page, must be thought out. And once you decide, okay, this is what I want to focus on this page, you play with size. First point, okay, you play with size, you play with contrast. Now let's go to the next one. Here comes the fonts. Very important thing, and people mess up so many times here. Students mess up a lot here. So we just heard from our students who were going for IDC, and one of the communication design students, he got through IDC. I remember telling him the same thing, and we tweaked this in his portfolio. And we compared how it looked, the font size, organizing basically giving them hierarchy. Your titles for your headlines in the newspaper, they are very big and sometimes even colored when you compare it to the article itself. So it gives you hierarchy. You read that first and then the other information. Same way in the portfolio, in your project, you need to know what you need to highlight. You need to know, is there anything that you want to point out and show that this is what you need to see? If there is something like that, then use font hierarchy. Organize the fonts, organize the size of the font, okay, typeface, basically. And when we compared this, our students' portfolio before and after, it was exactly how these two look. It was that different. So very important, organizing your fonts, typefaces. The final thing that I want to show here to you guys is alignment. Very important, very important. You need to make sure that, for example, now my alignment is off here, you see, left and right. So when you present something like this in your portfolio, in your projects, if it is on purpose, you're doing it on all the pages, then it's okay. But it's not the case. See, it's not the case. So which means that you were careless. You did not align it. So this makes a lot of difference. A lot of difference. You wouldn't, I mean, the attention to detail is something that you need to keep in mind when you're presenting the project. So alignment not only in the font and the page, but also when you present sketches, there's no proper direction that is shown. I have seen many portfolios where students have very random sketches. Okay, very random. There's no direction. Nobody knows where the idea is, where it is coming from, and which way we need to proceed to go to the final sketch or the direction. Having an alignment directs the eye. So all of these four things, what they do is, first thing, playing with the size, taking care of the color and contrast, then your fonts, then your alignment. So all of these things, they help you direct the eye of the viewer. So you are basically presenting your project in a way that when the other person sees, you're not there to tell him what they need to see or tell what is the focus of your project, right? So you are guiding their eye using all of these things. This is called visual hierarchy. So let me just quickly wrap it up and show you some examples. First thing, think about your project. Think if you have achieved what you set out to achieve. Did you finish the project? Did you conclude the project? What's the focus? Remember, each page of your project has a focus. Each page has something to say. And that something should show the process. It should follow a process. You cannot show your entire design, your complete design on the first page itself. I mean, you can do that. It usually goes as a cover of the whole project. Choosing what to present, what to include in the project is very important. So, of course, we ideate many sketches, and it is not necessary that all of the sketches are useful. Sometimes we explore many forms if it's a product, and we only end up using 3 or 4 forms and then combining them maybe, and or at least following one of them, one of the directions. You need not present each and every sketch that you make, but you can say that, okay, firstly, ideation may, it's just you're just building up. So ideation may, you can show some random 3 to 4 random sketches, small, not big. And then after that, the next step on the same page could be finalizing the directions, the key sketches. The key sketches. The important thing is that you need to present those key sketches in your ideation process. The key sketches are basically probable directions that you would take as you go into the project. Then from those key sketches, you have a particular direction which you eventually end up taking. Those are design decisions that you make. So you have to represent it in such a way that you're not flooding your pages with unnecessary sketches, but need to show that you've explored. 3 to 4 random small sketches are enough. Then key sketches, however many directions you want, let's say 2 directions or 3 directions, you say or even 1 direction is enough. I mean, it's okay. People do that. So it's okay. Totally cool. So then you say, okay, key sketch or key sketches. Then you further develop those key sketches into final concept, and then you build on that concept. Next thing would be to make it visual. How to make it visual? When you have a lot of things to play with, color, shape, size, think about all these things. Sizes, contrast, color, the font size, and the alignment. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another document here. This is my master's thesis project. Very old, but it can work for you guys to just understand how you can represent your project. And guys, even the bachelor students who are here applies the same thing. Even when you have, let's say, you have different mediums, you just have to categorize all the mediums that you've explored and follow the same thing what I've shared with you. It's the same, guys. Nothing different. For presentation is always the same. So this was the brief, and this was the idea basically. Research part. This whole slide, I mean, this is basically 2 slides. I'm showing it to you as a book. This whole slide, this whole 2 pages, this is almost, I think, 5 or 4 weeks of work, I think. So to be able to present it in a way that it just sums up the whole thing in just one or 2 pages is something that you need to know. Like I said, what is your focus? The focus was for me to the experiences. Okay, I won't explain the project, but just a few points that I would like to highlight. Second thing, what is the purpose of this page? The purpose of this page is to communicate the feeling. The focus of this particular page in this project is to show that I want to bring in beanbags into the cars, inside the cars. Okay, that was the idea. Communicating the feeling. I mean, I would say 90% it's visual and 10% it's text. You don't even need to read the text to get the idea. Second, I further develop that. You see, that's what I was saying. I have this sketch, the idea is this, okay? Then what did I do? I went on further developing the idea. Then some different views, trying to understand how it could look. Then the final concept here, final proposal. So some text here to support the sketch. Text should also complement the design and not otherwise. Okay, imagine this whole visual that you have, this, let's say 70% of it. If this was all text and only 30% of it was visuals, would it be appealing to you? No, right? It has to be visually very, very clear. Well, let's go to the next one. Now, again, communicating a feeling here and then the idea. Some text here to support this. Okay? Whoever wants to read it can read it. Otherwise, you want to skip it. I don't care. I have represented it visually. Then you have different ideas. Okay, it says transitional couch, same thing. So you have different variations of it, and then I go on to explain how all these things work. Everything visually. I just have one word here to support it. Just one word on this entire slide. I mean, yeah, technically 2, but yeah, just 1 or 2 words to explain entire slide. I mean, 2 pages. Then you go on to the next one. Look at this, just small text. And it's not even necessary if you ask me. I just use it to, balance the composition. I just use the text to balance the composition. I communicate everything visually. Then you have the final concept here. It's rendered, the sketch is rendered, okay, cool. And then again, same thing, color and contrast. You see the bigger elements, you see the smaller elements. And my text is also not fighting for attention. If anybody wants to read it, feel free to read it. Otherwise, the concept is this. So going back again, size, color, contrast, fonts, and alignment.
So that was all about how to present a project. Now you can use this method to present your various kinds of projects. It could be any domain, it could be any field that you are applying to. It could be bachelors, masters. This is a framework that would work for each and every project. Now, I will talk about how to compile a portfolio in the next episode. So stay tuned and guys, keep creating.